welcome to the Popcorn Hero Show. I am God's Plan, Orlando. With me, as always, Pedro.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man?
Wait, how come I don't have a cool nickname like you?
Well, I mean, with me, as always, what Amano always says. So I'm just using his catchphrases so that way the audience doesn't get confused.
But they're not confused about God's plan?
Oh, if they heard our review of sex education, they are not confused at all.
This is true. This is true.
So today we have another Netflix review, and we're going to review the show Russian Doll.
Russian Doll.
And like always, we're going to give a short spoiler-free review, rating it from 1 out of 5 stars. And then we're going to jump into the spoiler-filled review.
Yeah, man. Can't wait.
So, Pedro, before we start, what is the show about? Give us a synopsis of the show.
Yes. I am the synopsis guy.
Yeah.
All right.
With me, as always, is the synopsis guy,
There we go.
Pedro.
It's not as catchy.
All right. Well,
It works. It works.
I tried.
Okay, so Russian Doll is this dark comedy dramedy about this woman essentially that finds herself reliving her 36th birthday, the night of her 36th birthday, over and over again.
Right.
A little Groundhog's Day-ish, Edge of Tomorrow. What was the other one? Happy Death Day to You. That one where Marlon Wayans wakes up naked in the elevator.
Naked Man, right? I think it's called?
Something like that. This plot's been done to death, but it's got a nice little, it's got a nice style and humor to it. So I'm not going to get into the spoilers of it, but that's pretty much the premise. She keeps reliving the same night of her birthday over and over again on her 36th birthday.
Right. And so, well, then let's jump into the rating. What did you think about it? 1 out of 5 stars. What would you give it?
Ooh, you know, man, I think I'm gonna give it 4.5. I really liked it. I really liked the show. It I just love the dark I fucking love dark comedies, man.
Yeah.
Like when crazy shit happens, I just start laughing and I'm like, fuck, this is really fucked up, but this is so fucking crazy. And I went into it thinking, oh God, it's another one of these plots, like I said before, but they found a way to just make the dialogue and the characters just flow, and it just made it different.
Yeah.
I enjoyed her journey. I enjoyed the character's journey. Even though it was the same day over and over, you know, they found a way to change it up. And it was a nice short miniseries, so it didn't drag on like we like to say a lot of Netflix shows drag on. This one didn't. I thought it was perfect, and I thought it actually landed the ending. I thought it was perfect. So yeah, man, 4.5. I really enjoyed it.
You know, I agree with that rating. I wouldn't say 4.5. I'd say 4. Just in general, I didn't like. You know, you said you were laughing out loud in certain scenes. I guess maybe that kind of comedy didn't really hit home for me. I just found it very entertaining and kind of like I wanted to see their journey in the sense of like what's happening, why does she keep dying over and over? Is there a meaning behind this? And then not even I think midway, but almost midway, they introduced another character, and it just I'm like, oh okay, well that new character added some like depth to the show, and like oh okay, this is not just happening to this one person, what's going on here, like, and I liked them together trying to figure it out, put pieces together, and so it was a very entertaining show. And I agree with you, it for 8 episodes there wasn't not a second waste. And then even at the end I was just like, this is perfect. Like this is, I didn't even know it was like a limited series until it ended. I was like, this is a great ending for this, and it could, you know, if they wanted, I mean, not going to, but if they wanted to do a season 2, it wouldn't be right because the ending is so perfect.
100% agreed.
Yeah, I agree with you that rating you gave it. So, guys, now you know it's time for our spoiler discussion of the show. If you haven't watched it yet, obviously you can tell by our review to go check it out. And so, yeah, we're gonna jump into spoilers now.
Alrighty. Let's do this.
So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the title is Russian Doll.
Right.
What do you think that means to you? Why do you think the show is called Russian Doll?
Well, the character for one is Russian.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I'm thinking about the symbolism with
like
dolls.
Those old babushka dolls.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the symbolism with dolls and how maybe you can like dress them up and dress them down kind of thing. Like you could constantly change them.
Well, do you know what the Russian dolls are though? The
No,
Russian dolls are actually the ones that you open and there's a smaller one in it.
Oh,
You keep opening it and opening and opening, and there's always a smaller version, but there's always a version inside.
That's fascinating. Okay.
So there you go. It's not a legit doll.
Oh, okay. I know the doll you're talking about. Okay. Okay, so that changes my perspective now.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's almost like Easter eggs within Easter eggs in a way.
So I guess it kind of does tie into that loop of like over and over and over and over and over until you get to the smallest thing. And man, now I have to like rethink. Well, obviously it's this person, these people who are doing the same thing over and over and over until they get to the meaning of everything.
Right.
At their core, which is their Russian doll.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's actually kind of what I was getting. I was pretty much thinking somewhere along the lines that it, every person has layers, and you got to get past all those layers to see who you are, like inside. So when you're going at the beginning of the show, you get to see their all the crap that they shoot out, and then by the end of the show, you see who they truly are, like the perfect,
right.
like the true them. The other one that I had thought of too was that, the dolls to me, they represent like a life and death thing. Like when they pop open, that's death, like they're dying. But then you got another one in it, like birth. Yeah. So with each loop comes a different doll inside, like the rebirth. You're constantly dying and rebirthing into something new.
That's fascinating.
So, yeah, I just thought that there was a lot of meanings to it.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that honestly you could write like a thesis paper on it, and you could really dissect and dive in. But I mean, we didn't get that far into it because honestly, like, I'm good. But yeah, it is one of those shows that there's symbolism everywhere, and if you're down for it, you can find how it connects to like religion and different mythologies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fascinating.
So right off the bat, I loved the setting where it kept opening up with her in that weird fucking bathroom,
right? With
like that. What did her friend call, like the vagina? Is a vagina enough? Like that hole that was in the
this weird
the door. It's like a portal.
A portal, yeah.
So from the get go, I was like, yo, this is a weird fucking trippy ass bathroom. It's almost like she's going to the portal of like the rest of her fucking life of that same day over and over again.
Okay.
And then just that choice of song, at first I was like, oh God, am I going to have to keep hearing this every fucking flip? But it just became funny. Like every time it flipped, gotta wake up, gotta get up. And I was like, oh man, this is funny as hell. And I thought it was kind of cool that she was just this fucking crazy, doesn't give a shit about her life, like living life completely balls to the wall, just self-destructive.
Yeah, I was about to say that. She was a very self-destructive person. She was very just like, she almost afraid of anything good.
Right.
So let me fuck it up.
Yeah, it's not that she was a bad person, but it was just like, like you said, every time she had something good, she would find some way to destroy it. Like you find out later in the show, the marriage that she essentially like derailed.
Exactly.
And then just said, fuck that. This guy's good for me, but fuck it, whatever. And then just, So she destroyed everything in her wake, essentially.
Right,
she was like a hurricane. So, but she was still very likable to me, even though she did all those, I guess.
Well, of course. And then obviously, her name is Nadia. Mm-hmm. What's her last name?
Volvikov. Nadia Volvikov.
Yeah, that's a Russian ass name.
Well, yeah, Russian doll.
Yeah.
That dude.
Yeah, so she was very just a likable douchebag, in the best way possible. Where she was mean, but she had like this spunk to her, where like she had like this sass that you could like, okay, you know what, I could fuck with you, kind of feel. Mm-hmm. And so you could see why as a viewer you could understand why she is liked by. She has like a lot of friends.
Right.
People do know her. People do like her, and it's kind of jarring seeing someone who is so like pushed, like to push people away.
Yeah, literally the life of the party.
Yeah, and everybody just wanted to be around her or next to her or help her or just be so kind to her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's very interesting seeing someone like that. And so yeah, she dies right in the first episode, and as soon as she dies, she wakes up back in that bathroom. And then that's when you realize what the show's about. Like, okay, she has to relive this day over and over.
Yeah. And what I liked is from the very get-go, because, a lot of in these movies or in these shows or whatever, the character kind of goes like, oh, that feels a little weird.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they keep going on with it. From the get-go, she was like, yo, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah. And usually people try to take advantage of the day. Like, of course, in Groundhog's Day, you have Bill Murray who, like, was joking the fuck around with it at first. Like, okay, let's see what I can do, what I can't do.
Right.
Her, automatically, she was just like, I don't want any of this. Like, she was already pissed from the get-go of, like, this isn't fun, this isn't cool. And
there was also a reason why she was so scared, because the history with her mom. Because her mom was essentially crazy.
Right, exactly.
So she was like, oh, fuck, I'm becoming my mother. So, I mean, you don't realize that till the end, but now it makes sense looking back of why she was so freaked out.
Right, of course.
So
and so it's just very funny that she didn't want any part of it. She was really against the idea of. It's kind of like she would have been happy if she just died.
Yeah,
and her life would have, and because she was a person who went through so much trauma and distraught that at the end of the day, like, she was not ready to die, but she would have been okay with her death. And then the fact that, like, she had to relive the same day over and over and over, especially a day where it's a party for her.
Yeah.
And it's obviously tied to her, the day her mom, the year she's 36, her mom died when her mom was 36 when she died. So
yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot.
So it was just like, I had to keep living this day over and over and over. Fuck this.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't hit you obviously until the end, so you realize all that stuff, but it was literally her version of hell.
Yes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure she explains it like that too. She just says, this is hell. Like, all these fucking people, and then over and over again.
And so it has that different feel of, like, because usually in these type of movies, the protagonist likes to have some fun with it. Like, okay, let me see if I can, like, fuck this guy, and because at the end of the day, you'll die, you'll live the same day. So why not try to, like, do what you want to do, like rob a bank or something, or sleep with somebody you want to sleep with, or go tell your boss to fuck off. And that happens in some of these scenarios, and, like, the other movies are similar and shows are similar to it. But in this movie, she wants to get out of it as quick as possible.
Right. Yeah, that was actually refreshing too. It was different, because I was expecting what you were just saying too.
Right.
Like, oh, she's gonna get the one where she bangs this guy instead. She get the one where she maybe just, like, kills her. Like in Groundhog Day, he was finding different ways to kill himself.
Right.
And stuff
Exactly.
Like that.
And she wasn't. She was there trying to find a way. Like, okay, why am I here? What am I doing this? And as the closer she got to figuring it out, death was on her door, like, saying, like, you're not gonna figure. You are not going to solve this riddle of why you keep dying.
One of the funniest parts, like, right off the bat, is the next few times she died after the first one was with the fucking stairs.
Yeah,
like, she kept just falling down and dying from the stairs, and that was, like, the ongoing joke that every time she left the party, she would always do the fire escape. And
it's funny though, because the show, I guess, is not filmed in New York, but it should be. I guess it's based in New York. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so fire escapes are very dangerous, technically, because they're so old. Like, New York doesn't renovate their fire escapes. It's actually not a safe way to get out of a building.
That is pretty funny.
And so, like, yeah, like, if you ever go to New York, fire escapes are very dangerous. Like, you should not, like, be going down them. All the accidents with fire escapes.
Maybe that's some symbolism in there of how she lives her life.
unless it's a modern building with a modern ass fire escape, you shouldn't be going down some, like, rickety 50s fire escape. But yeah, so that would maybe there is some symbolism there.
Yeah, it was just kind of funny how she would always, like, bring her friends in. We're going down through the fire escape, and then the friend was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know we had this." And then they start talking about how the property price is gonna go up because they know they have a fire escape. It was just, like, little jokes there they kept sprinkling in.
Yeah. So the show kind of takes not a weird turn, but it introduces another element that I do like in the terms of Alan, which is he's introduced, like, around the third or fourth episode, where obviously Nadia is about to die again, and they're on an elevator, and she randomly sees this guy on the elevator. And the elevator's falling down, and everybody is panicking except her and the guy, because she knows she's gonna die. And she goes to him like, "Hey man, we're
gonna die."
And he's like, "I die all the time."
Yeah, and that's when they go, oh shit.
Yes. And so, which is so fascinating because then
That was a great way to end the episode because I actually went, whoa, that was awesome.
Yeah. And what is interesting, like I said, she's trying to figure out why this is happening to her. She's not having fun. And the fact that this other person is in on the same like loop, the same day, the same everything is so intriguing to her. She has to figure it out. Like she thinks that like it is connected to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, let's talk about a bit about Alan and his character.
His character is the exact opposite of her in every way.
Exactly.
Completely. He wants control of his life. He wants everything, and that's why he keeps doing the same thing over and over every day because it's something that he can control. He knows the outcome of the day. He knows everything. Like nothing, there are no surprises in the day.
I didn't see, it was obvious that he was a control freak. I just didn't see it that way because he did keep doing the same thing over and over.
He waited by the door for the guy to come in and he would open the door. He had the ring at all times and he would just sit there and take the argument because that was a moment that he felt out of control in and it freaked him out. So the fact that he's reliving that day over and over, he can take control of the moment that freaked him out.
Right.
Yeah, so he flipped it. He flipped that moment of like weakness into like, oh yeah, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be okay with this because... Yeah. So it was almost a good thing for him.
Yeah, I didn't...
Which wasn't good, but yeah.
It's fascinating because I didn't realize that he was just doing... I knew he was doing it on purpose. I just didn't... I thought there was a meaning... Because the thing is, I thought there was a reason for him doing it, but there wasn't. It was just, like you said, he just wanted control of that day.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you find out that they usually die around the same exact time.
The same time, right.
So Nadia's been dying like constantly, like in these 4 episodes already. He must have died like 8-9 times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he died multiple times. Like maybe he was crossing the street and a car went,
Yeah, exactly.
It's Final Destination style deaths.
Yeah. But it's fascinating because it's fascinating that in his mind, like, let me just keep... It's fascinating to me for a man to keep doing the same thing over and over and over without breaking.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe what it was is that he was getting to the point where he's mastering the day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Because at first, obviously, he's probably the first death probably took him out for a loop, and then he's distraught and everything.
Yeah.
But after maybe the third or fourth, he's like, oh shit, I can actually. Take control of this?
I know their deaths are synced up. So what you're trying to say is you think maybe he was the reason why she kept falling down the stairs? Like his death was triggering it for her to fall down?
Oh, no. I'm just saying that, if she died so many times before meeting him,
he must
have died the same amount of time. That's all I'm saying. And I guess what I'm trying to say that it makes sense now that he probably wasn't in control of the first few deaths. He was probably like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Maybe not trying to figure it out, but
like just panicking and...
Yeah, just panicking.
Right. And then he realized, wait, I can get control out of this.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, completely OCD. Everything had to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, the only time that he actually starts freaking out a little bit is when things start disappearing.
Right. And when things don't end up like how he wanted it to be. Like, so what happens is that Alan is neurotic, he's controlling, but he's in a relationship with his girlfriend for X amount of years. And that day, he was going to propose to her. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know what, I'm going to marry her. And she invites him over to the house for dinner. They were going to have to go out to dinner. And they meet up. And she, instead of going out to dinner, she drops a bomb on him, basically saying that she's not in love with him anymore and that he needs to go seek help, that he has mental issues.
Right.
And that she really cares for him because they've been together since like college, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, he doesn't like change and she just wants to do different things.
Yeah, they're just basically not on the same wavelength, not seeing eye to eye. And that pretty much sets him off and he goes out to drink and he gets very depressed, yada, yada, yada. So he knew that day, basically, that he was meet up with he meet up with his girlfriend, get drunk, and then he'll die at the end of that day. And he keeps doing that over and over. Now, when Nadia comes into the picture, he finds out something different. When he meets Nadia, that the next day he is set off for a loop, and then he also finds out like he does something a little bit different because he's like Nadia is in the picture now, so things end up changing for him.
Mm-hmm.
And in confronting his girlfriend, he finds out that she was cheating on him.
Right.
I'm not really sure she finds out because of Nadia or because of he did something different that day.
I can't remember exactly how he found out, but it was just funny that the guy is at the party. So every time he goes to see Nadia at the party, it's him.
Yeah. So basically, he finds out that his girlfriend has been cheating on him with the other person who happens to be at the same party of Nadia's 36th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Nadia doesn't know him. He's just kind of like one of friends of a friend's, like that's there. And he kind of hits on Nadia. They kind of like have sex actually on the first night that she dies. And he's basically a reoccurring character, kind of like this, not the scumbag kind of guy, but like this scummy kind of guy who's sleeping with Alan's girlfriend, but also sleeping with multiple women on the side. He doesn't.
He's pretty much he's pretty much like the metaphor for a bad decision. That's
actually a good
because that's what he was saying. He's the hole that they choose.
Yeah.
When they need something, he's just there. They don't choose him. They just choose not you. That was one of the things he had said.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that's really what he is. He's the void that they go towards.
Yeah, and so they meet, and this whole Alan's world is turned upside down because of this information. He is rethinking his whole entire relationship. He hates
Mike,
right? And so he meets up with Nadia, and they try to figure out like, why is this happening? What is our link? Why do we keep dying together?
Yeah. So they start coming up with all kinds of like random shit they have in common.
Yeah.
Which is one of the funniest moments actually for me was when they're in the subway, and then Nadia joking around is like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Oh, is that a bee?" And he's like, "Oh God, I hope not. I'm deathly allergic to bees." And he goes, "Oh, me too." And then she goes, "Wow. Watch, all of a sudden we're going to run into a bunch of bees and we're all going to die." And then as soon as they finish saying that, there's fucking bees coming out of the subway and you see everyone running outside. And then they fucking died. I was cracking up so hard at that part.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's fucking funny.
You don't remember that part,
No,
do you?
I do not remember that part.
Were you even watching this show?
I was watching the show.
While you were washing dishes, probably.
Probably. I was doing something on the side.
Man, that scene was so freaking... That was like the funniest death because I was cracking up out loud at that one.
And so they're trying to figure out what is their link, and they don't really. Well, Alan is thinking that they're bad people, so they're stuck in like purgatory So, and they don't. It's clear that Nadia's a bad person. Like it's clear by just the way she broke up a marriage. She's not really a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't really care about other people's feelings. But Alan, for the most part, he thinks he's a good person. He thinks that he is a righteous and honest man. And it kind of is what is at its core disturbing him, because he has to live this day over and over. This day that he found out his girlfriend cheated on him. This day that like he has to now deal with Nadia. Like it is essentially his version of hell as well.
Right.
And he's like, "Why? I don't deserve this. I'm a good man." But you realize that he isn't, in a way, because he's trying to be so controlling and so not manipulative, but in a way, pretty much manipulative in what he wants. Because if it's not what he wants,
then it's not happening.
It's not happening. Yeah.
They're both selfish in different ways.
Exactly.
The way I took the show as, they were like the yin and yang to each other. They had stuff that each of them needed. Like he was so in control, he needed to kind of just say fuck it and be a little out of control, which is literally what Nadia is. And then Nadia needed to actually kind of keep shit close, and which is really all he is.
Right.
So that's pretty much what I took it as, of why it was them two. Out of any other two people, why it was them two, because they needed to learn from each other. They had qualities that each of them needed in order to break the loop or whatever.
And as the show progresses, they do break the loop. Yeah. They what is it that they find out at the end, basically, that allows them to reset?
Oh, okay. So pretty much what they end up finding out is that they met the first night. He was really drunk. Pretty much he finds out that he committed suicide. He jumped off the building that night. And Nadia was saying, fuck, if I wasn't too busy yelling at these douchebags and fucking this guy, I could have saved you from jumping off. And if you weren't so drunk, you could have saved me from getting hit by this car trying to look for my cat. So then they go, oh my God, that's the key. The key is we need to save each other from our deaths that first night.
Right.
And then as they're finding that out, that's when shit starts going crazy. Like they start dying constantly, and everything starts going nuts.
And it's like death is realizing that you're about to solve the puzzle and I don't want you to.
Yeah, like they were getting liver failure and shit. She was like, panicking and like, oh my God, I need to fix this moment with this, the guy that I was seeing daughter.
Right. She also realized that she was thinking, okay, all of these deaths aren't just stopping. What if they're different universes? And I die, but then I go to another universe, or I wake up in a different universe, and these people keep living their lives.
Yeah, they keep seeing me dead,
and they keep seeing me dying.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating because
the moment that made her realize that was pretty fucking crazy too. It was the one where her mother figure shoots her,
right?
And then she sees her, and that's when she realizes. She even wakes up. She flips, whatever, loops back with her like crying, like, "Oh my God, what have I been doing this whole time?" Right.
Right. And so she realized there's a consequence to all of this, that like it's not just a reset button. Like if this is real, people are living their lives with seeing Nadia dying or experiencing Nadia dying or hearing about it, or they're the fallback of her doing something super shitty to them. In terms of like the guy asked him, like, can you go see my daughter? And he's like, yeah,
and nah. She just leaves.
She backed off because she was afraid. And then she dies that day, obviously, and you have to realize that guy now has that trauma of like, you missed out on making this bond with my daughter.
Right.
And so yeah, they figured that out. And now at the end, they have to save themselves. But what's fascinating is that now when they reset this time, they're both on parallels.
They're on parallel.
Opposite parallels. Yeah. How would that be?
They're on parallel timelines,
right?
That are happening at the same time. You would think, but they're not intersecting with each other.
Exactly.
So in Alan's, he has all the memories from the previous ones, but Nadia is back to how she was originally.
Right. So it's kind of like
vice versa.
They jump to another universe. How I see it, they jump to a universe where each one of them knows of the events that occurred before. Yeah, but then the new universe that like hit Alan from the previous universe, it meets this new Nadia from that universe. Right, and then that Nadia doesn't know Alan.
Yeah, the way I took it as, these timelines were each other's tests. It's kind of like, all right, you've gotten all this knowledge to make you a complete person.
Wow, yeah.
Now you need to use it. This is your test to use it now. This is your
final exam.
Like you're by yourself now. There's no Nadia to hold your hand. There's no Alan to hold your hand. Like either nut up or shut up, like type of thing. So this was the ultimate like it was a crazy like climax rush. Like I was even like, oh my God, you better like fucking hurry up. Like even they were fucking up a little bit.
Exactly.
Like she's like, hey man, here, hang out with me. And then the friend at the 7-Eleven is like, get the fuck away. And it's like, oh no, he's gonna kill himself. Keep following him. And then same thing with her. She's like, oh, she's leaving with the douche. Yeah. And there's that fucking cat. Oh my God.
So it picks up pretty much on their both timelines where Alan in the Nadia universe is wasted. So this is the moment where he is so depressed he's gonna kill himself. Yeah. And Nadia in her universe, Alan in the Nadia universe. Yes. Yeah, Alan in the Nadia universe is Nadia's about to sleep with that guy, and then while she's gonna go sleep with him, she sees her cat and gets hit by a car. Right. So they're both trying to save each other from dying. And yeah,
I gotta say the way they edited and filmed that final timeline was really cool because you're seeing them side by side. Yeah. So you're seeing Alan, which I just keep calling like complete Alan, with broken Alan, and you get to see, wow, look how far they've come in 8 episodes. Same thing with Nadia. You're looking at her like, fuck you, I don't care. And he was Like there's even like a little moment where it's like, oh, no condoms. That's not a deal breaker for me. You know, like shit like that.
Right.
So it's like broken Nadia and then complete Nadia. So it was kind of cool. You got to see them both at the same time.
Yeah. It's fascinating because, and at first the last episode, I think I was doing something on the side for work. And so when I was first watching it, I was just like, what's happening? Like I was just like, I was very confused.
Oh, it didn't click.
At first it was jumping back and forth without really telling you that it was happening. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, why doesn't Alan recognize her? Why doesn't Nadia recognize him? Wait, why do they know what's going on, but they don't?
But they don't know what's going on.
Exactly. I'm like, what's happening? And then I had to like reset the episode again. I'm just like, wait, what's happening? And then it clicked. Like, oh, the opposite person on the other side doesn't know them. Mm-hmm. And this is, like you said, this is their test to save each other.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Alan was trying so hard for not only that Alan did not want Nadia to get hit by the car, but Alan also didn't want her to sleep with Mike.
Right.
So at the end of the day, It's pretty funny seeing him being like, fuck this dude. Still, like he still wasn't over it. Even though, like at the end of the day, like
he was over it because he gave up his girlfriend.
Right.
Because remember, he took a photo of him and sent it to his girlfriend to try to so he's over that.
Right.
What he really wanted to do is just save Nadia from being self-destructive. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So that shows how he changed as a person. Like It wasn't just about his life that he's in control of. It was about like, okay, now I need to jump into shit that I have no control over and I'm fucking scared out of my mind, but he's still doing it.
Right.
So that just shows him jumping in the deep end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's interesting, man. And at the end, obviously, they pretty much save each other. Like they both find a way to just hang out and make it through the night, basically.
Yeah.
And at the end, it all like comes together in this.
Yeah, it's really cool the way they filmed that. I don't know what literally happened in there, but I know what it meant symbolically. Because they're both being filmed side by side of them walking through the park,
right,
with their broken selves and new selves, and then they merge together into this tunnel with this parade of like a celebration of who knows what it really means. I even looked at some interviews of like the writers, and they said it means something different to every person.
Right.
So, but I kind of just took it as a celebration, like fuck yeah, we did it. So then you see the complete versions of themselves finally merge. And it's kind of cool the way they filmed it because when they grabbed the masks or whatever, they were holding up stuff for the parade. When you look back, they brushed shoulders with the old self.
Right.
So the old broken selves kept walking backwards.
Right.
So it's kind of showing like that's it. We're moving forward. We're past that. So
I took it as like in the parade. I took it as all the universes connecting, like kind of like passing each other.
Right.
Kind of like we're all like intertwining at this one moment, and we're all like leaving our past behind us and our mistakes behind us, and now it's time because I figured that like where if we all take about in universe sense, majority of the universes with Nadia and Alan died. They died.
Yeah.
So this is where they are free from like the repeatingness of it all, like the loop.
Because that's the farthest they ever both got past the night was that moment.
And then this other version is allowed to like continue on and see where that goes, But everyone else is put to rest. What did you think about? So towards the end of the show, we didn't bring it up, but a lot of things started disappearing.
Yeah. And
not only like furniture and like it got to the point where people were disappearing.
Right.
What did you think was happening at that moment?
I'm trying to remember what was disappearing. So at first I kind of thought it as, I can't remember what was Nadia's first thing to disappear, actually. I remember Alan's was the ring. So I guess from me thinking of that, I guess the stuff that was disappearing was stuff that was like important to them or that's causing like them being bad, I guess the way they are or something.
Right.
But also, it was just a way for writers to be like, okay, we're running out of time. We can't just be fucking looping forever. Like in those other movies, Groundhog Day and stuff like that, there's always like, oh, you can just loop forever and with no consequences. It's fine. Right. This doesn't really have to end at any point. But then if you watch like Happy Death Day, it's like, oh, every time you loop, your damage is coming back to your body. Or in Edge of Tomorrow, it's like, oh shit, the aliens are actually looping with you, so you better hurry up. So I just think that was honestly just a way for the writers to go, all right, they need
what's our way to rush the clock?
Yeah, rush the clock. I maybe there was more to it, but I just took it as, okay, they just need to realize the clock is ticking, become a better person in 8 episodes or else, like, you know.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, or what it could be is that because it's weird to have, because our theory is that they're going through universes, so maybe when they keep jumping, they're going to different type of universes, and maybe the universes just doesn't have those elements involved, you know. So it'd be weird that the universe gets emptier and emptier and emptier based on their deaths, you know? So I can't really figure out a reason other than like maybe just those universes don't have those elements naturally, you know?
One of the interesting parallels, I guess parallel is the right word, that I kind of saw was that Nadia was a software engineer, and she was making in one of the early episodes you see she's making a video game.
Yeah, terrible video game.
Yeah, terrible video game. But so in the video games, obviously we play games a lot. You die, you start back at a checkpoint.
Right.
You play it again, you die, you start back at a checkpoint. So there was a cool little thing there. But also that specifically in the show, there was a bad code in the game. And that's what kept causing it to repeat. So that's another reason why I took it as them being either self-destructive or too controlling was their bad code that they needed to fix before they can move on. So that was like an interesting way to kind of show, you know, the plot in something way more simpler.
Yeah. And I mean, it hit home really where, not towards the like couple last episodes where basically Nadia's trying to figure everything out. And she's actually, there's an episode where she realizes that everyone is vanishing. And so she realizes.
And the fruit is rotting.
And that food is rotting. She's realizing that her death is having consequence on the people that she knows. So she wants to do right by them, at least, you know, before she dies.
Right, like her mother figure, she's like, fix the fucking stove because, you know.
And she calls, because
every single day she calls to get it fixed, even though she knows it's not going to do anything.
There's one episode basically because she dies because her mom turned on the stove and lights a match and the apartment explodes.
Which it doesn't explode when she's getting down into the mystery of like the mom.
Right.
The mother. So, yeah.
Which is fascinating because you would think that obviously death is a character in the show, obviously. You would think like they would, you know, that would try to, because as they're figuring it out, death comes quicker toward Nadia.
Right. But it could also be that they're figuring out, I don't know, the wrong thing. And they're like, all right, loop again. That you're not at the right spot yet. But I guess the mother, her mom, because you remember she never spoke about her mom ever.
Right.
When someone brought up the mom, immediately she would change the subject, tell them to fuck off, or, you know.
So do you think death was actually in their favor to figure things out?
Yes.
I don't think so, though.
Yeah, I think so. It was like, oh, now you're learning about your mom. Good. This is what you needed to know, you know, stuff like that. And
so when they were dying quicker, you think it's because, oh, you're not, this isn't it. When they were dying at a rapid pace, it's because you're thinking, oh, you're not, this is not it. This
isn't it. It was all about, that's pretty much what I was kind of getting at. It was like, that was like, nope, this isn't it. Fascinating. Keep dying.
And because, so basically they're talking about the mom and the trauma. Her mom is basically, pretty much she seemed like she had schizophrenia.
That's what I was thinking too. She couldn't stop buying like watermelons and stuff like that.
Yeah, she had schizophrenia. She had like schizophrenia.
Even Ruth, that was the mother figure's name. Even Ruth made a joke once about the watermelons. Remember the watermelons? And she immediately was like, "Nah, we're not talking about this." And
there's a point where they mentioned it in the show, and then they showed it where Nadia's mom breaks all the mirrors.
Yes.
In the house, and when Ruth says something similar to like, "Oh, mirrors shows us
who we really
are," and that to me sounded like schizophrenia in terms of like she's looking into the mirror and maybe she's hearing voices or she's talking to herself and she doesn't like what she's hearing back.
That's kind of interesting because every time that they looped Alan and Nadia, they looped in front of a mirror.
Right.
So obviously that was telling them
until
something.
the mirror was gone.
Was gone.
In a loop. So Nadia's trying to figure things out and try to make amends for the people that's close to her. And there's one part where she does go see the daughter of her ex-boyfriend or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having a heart attack at the restaurant, or
it was something weird. Her eyes were bulging. She had glass in her mouth. It was like the most gruesome, disturbing death. Her eyes were bulging.
It was intense.
That shit was freaking me out. I was like, oh, man.
Basically, she sees the kid version of herself, and the kid version of herself says, oh, you ready to let go?
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, I'm ready to let go. Like,
I took that as you had to let go of your mom.
Yeah, you have to forgive her. You have to be okay with, like, she was sick, and you have to you can't let your mom affect your life. Mm-hmm. And that's why I took it as, like, you can't let her problems dictate what happens to you now.
Right.
And that's basically, I think, towards that, like,
that was the second to last episode.
Yeah, that was towards her realizing I need to save Alan. I need to fix fix all this.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I was actually just remembering one of the first parts of the show that was like had me cracking up was that after the first flip, she blamed it on the drugs. You remember that?
Yeah.
She's like, "What the fuck is in this shit?" And she tracks down who the drug dealer was. What is this shit? Oh man, it's got a little bit of cocaine. And then I guess in one of the other flips, she goes into the drug dealer den. They're like, "Nah, man, it doesn't got cocaine. It's got some other shit." She's like, "Fuck." So
I think it had like what tea has that put you to sleep. Is that what it had? Like,
nah, man, it had some weird shit, but then she finds out in another loop that it was like, yeah, you had that before. Yeah. Oh, so, but yeah, going back to that part that immediately from the get go, she was like, yo, there's something fucking wrong.
Yeah.
So, and that's why she kept saying it has to be what's in this fucking drug, because if it's not what's in this drug, that means that I'm fucking crazy. Essentially, I'm like my mother.
Yeah.
So it all went back to like that fear, but I just thought that was really funny though.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it would. I think we hit on all the topics, on all the points. Yeah, and it was just a great show, man. It was literally just, it's short, it's concise, it literally hits,
and all the side characters were really fun and enjoyable. Like all of them, like her friends. Even Horse, the homeless man, he was a pretty cool reoccurring character.
He was kind of douchey when you realize it. Like,
he was douchey in the last one, I guess, when you find out that he was just gonna steal from them.
Yeah.
But
and then like her friend Liz, I believe, the Asian girl who's hosting the party for her.
Maxine.
Yeah, they were all, and like I said, everyone around Nadia was just very loving to her. And it's like exactly the opposite of what she is and what she wanted. Yeah. So it's funny that she like had to.
Yeah, she attracted everything.
And Alan is actually quite different. Alan had no one that he attracted to. Everyone didn't. Yeah. And no one was really gravitating towards him because he was so neurotic.
Yeah, he was squeezing so tight that it was slipping out.
Yeah, and the thing is that towards the end, if you noticed, he was starting to let go, and he like made like a quick like glance at someone on the streets. He bumped into somebody, and she was just like, oh, like she's like, oh, you live here? He's like, yeah, like, oh, I'll see you more out there. Kind of a little flirty kind of vibe that was going on.
It was pretty much showing you, see, if you just chill the fuck out, it'll come to you.
Yeah, and it was more of like saying like, you're gonna be okay, man. Like you have to like just let shit like flow, like. And he was just so controlling that no one wanted to be around him. And the minute he was finally to let go, people gravitated towards him as well.
Yeah. I just love the message behind the show. It was essentially like everyone's broken, but you just gotta work it out.
Yeah.
Find someone that's also broken essentially, and you guys will fix it together. Like,
yeah.
So I just thought it was awesome. Great show, man.
Yeah, and I guess that's what wraps it up for our episode here. Our next Netflix review of Russian Doll. If you haven't checked it out, well, clearly if you at the end of this episode you checked it out. So let us know what you think. What are the symbolism that you guys caught? What is the meaning of all of that? What is the meaning of her dying constantly?
What did the parade mean to you?
Yeah, what did the parade mean to you? And yeah, hit us up on our Instagram or our Facebook. And we'll catch you next time, guys.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Later.